Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the SWUS. Continuing on with college football week 11. Continuing on with some MACtion. I'm actually recording this before the Tuesday night game, so I don't know how my bet did. I only placed one bet. It was Central Michigan plus 14. It wasn't a big bet. These games tend to get crazy, so please bet responsibly. Hopefully, by the time you're watching this, I cashed that, but who knows? Yeah, 2 more MAC games for Wednesday night. Let's do it.
Welcome to the SWUS. The SWUS. SWUS. Hey, get the SWUS.
First up, we got the Bobcats of Ohio on the road at Kent State here. Kent State catching 19 points, even a couple 19 and a halves out there. So Kent State, huge home dogs in this one. Total sitting at 52 and a half. Let's get into this matchup, and we'll start with the Ohio offense against the Kent State defense. I mean, Kent State, as I'm sure you know, one of the worst programs in college football. In fact, if it wasn't for Kennesaw State, honestly, Kennesaw State, after beating Liberty, they might have surpassed Kent State. We might be looking at back-to-back seasons where Kent State is the worst team in college football. Clearly, Ohio has a huge edge offensively. Haven't had much of a passing attack this year with Parker Navarro, but the run game has been there. 10th in yards per carry, 49th in success rate per rush, 32nd in effective rush. Matched up against a Kent State defense that, I mean, look at their numbers against the run. 133rd in yards per carry allowed, 127th in success rate per rush, 134th. Dead last in effective rush defensively. So, yeah, Ohio should be able to run the ball on Kent State without a problem. And on the other side, I mean, Kent State's offense may be slightly better than the defense. In fact, there were a couple games there, a couple games at home, we'll talk about it, where Kent State's passing offense actually looks somewhat formidable for a second. On the season, 132nd in yards per play, 133rd in success rate. Look at their passing numbers, 89th in yards per pass attempt. I guess that's something. Just 131st in success rate per drop back. I mean, this isn't a good offense, but maybe you could say the Kent State offense not quite as bad as the defense. And if you look at the Ohio side, I mean, they've struggled against the pass this year, so maybe Kent State's able to make a few plays here. Ohio against the pass, 60th in yards per pass attempt allowed, 100th in success rate per drop back, 78th in effective pass. So obviously, we know Ohio is the much better football team, and it's not close, right? They're laying damn near 20 points on the road. If you're looking to bet Kent State here, you can look at this. All right, so here's Kent State's schedule so far this year. In the Penn State game, I believe that was week 4 on the road at Penn State, they lost 56-0. But in that game, their quarterback and their QB2 both got hurt. So starting the following week, the Eastern Michigan game, Tommy Ulatowski took over at quarterback, and he is QB3 for Kent State. So they're rocking with their third-string quarterback, and that's going to be the case the rest of the year. QB1 and QB2 out for the season. So Tommy Ulatowski has been the starting quarterback for Kent State since that Eastern Michigan game. Check this out. He started 4 games now, 2 of them at home, 2 of them on the road. Look at the Kent State offensive numbers from Tommy Ulatowski's 2 home starts. 34 points per game, 6.9 yards per play, just 36.9% success rate. So they broke a few big ones, but 34 points per game, 6.9 yards per play. Look at the passing numbers. 369.5 passing yards per game, 11.6 yards per pass attempt. So in Tommy Ulatowski's 2 home starts, they were actually making big plays through the air. Compare those numbers to the other 6 games on Kent State's schedule that weren't Tommy Ulatowski home starts, just 11.3 points per game. So from 34 points per game to 11.3 points per game, 3.31 yards per play. Success rate under 30%. Look at the passing numbers. Just 108.5 passing yards per game, 26.3% success rate per drop back. So for whatever reason, I can't explain it, but in Tommy Ulatowski's 2 home starts, they actually went off and scored a bunch of points and made a bunch of big plays through the air. Now, that's razor thin. I'm not saying that means Tommy Ulatowski is going to come out and throw the ball, but if you're looking to bet Kent State, you can point at that. Both home starts where Tommy Ulatowski was the quarterback, they averaged, let's bring up the numbers again, 369.5 passing yards per game, 34 points per game. So there's something if you're looking to take the points with Kent State. And actually, I have another angle here if you're looking to bet Kent State. A second angle for Kent State. Ohio's defense, not nearly as good on the road. In their home games, Ohio's allowing just 13 points per game, 4.24 yards per play. Elite defensive numbers. But in their 4 road games, 33.5 points allowed per game, 6.36 yards per play allowed. Now, I say that a little bit tongue-in-cheek. They played Syracuse, Kentucky, Central Michigan, Miami of Ohio, all significantly better offenses than Kent State. So a little bit tongue-in-cheek there, but hey, if you're looking to bet Kent State, there's something else for you. This Ohio defense, we know it's a great MAC defense, hasn't played that well in their road games. The problem with betting Kent State here, because even if you like those two angles, even if you like the two things I just said, the problem is Ohio's going to hand the ball off 45 times, and there's not a damn thing Kent State could do defensively to stop it. I don't know how Kent State's defense is able to get off the field in this one. So even if you do expect Tommy Ulatowski to make some plays with his arm, I'll say Kent State or pass plus 19.5. A very slim chance I actually bet this one. Next, Northern Illinois on the road at Western Michigan. Western Michigan catching 1.5. This was at 2. Looks like it dropped a half point. Oh, I do see a 2 still out there. Total sitting at 52.5. Let's get into this matchup, and we'll start with the NIU offense against the Western Michigan defense. As you probably know, Western Michigan is an offensive program. They haven't really had a good defense in a few years now, and they're struggling again this year. On the season, 118th in yards per play allowed, 126th in success rate. Slightly better against the run, though. The numbers against the run actually not completely terrible. 99th in yards per carry, 109th in success rate per rush, 108th in effective rush. That actually matches up somewhat well. NIU, an offense that needs to run the ball. In fact, they're having some quarterback problems there. So actually not the worst matchup in the world for Western Michigan's defense, but no question there's a talent discrepancy here. NIU offensively much better than Western Michigan defensively. I mentioned before Northern Illinois, an offense that wants to run the ball, 27th in run frequency. They're also 10th in plays per game, so they run at a decent pace as well. Western Michigan defensively against the run, I mean, it's really not that bad. 4.6 yards per carry allowed. This is in their last 5 games. I wasn't going to include Ohio State in there, but in their last 5 games, 4.6 yards per carry allowed, 41.9% success rate per rush, just over 155 rushing yards allowed per game. I mean, these numbers aren't terrible. That being said, I mean, you look at the opponents. Marshall, now that they've started using the 2 quarterback system, it's been a pretty good rushing attack. After that, I mean, Ball State, Akron, Buffalo, Kent State. So they've seen a lot of bad offenses. Look, stopping the run is definitely the strength of this Western Michigan defense, but by no means would I call it a good run defense. Also, they've played really well against the run at home. There's another something for you. If you like Western Michigan, in their 3 home games, they're allowing just 121 rushing yards per game, 3.21 yards per carry, 36.3% success rate per rush. So excellent numbers against the run in their home games, but it's against an FCS program, Akron and Kent State. So they've had terrible competition in their home games. Obviously, Northern Illinois' offense is a huge step up from these 3 opponents. The problem with NIU's offense is just a lack of a passing attack. And I know Ethan Hampton did get hurt. He missed a couple games in here, but in their last 6 games, Ethan Hampton played in 4 of these, just 4.82 yards per pass attempt, 37.4% success rate per dropback, 157.7 passing yards per game. And like I said, I mean, the passing attack was struggling even before Ethan Hampton got hurt. He's back now. By the way, he did miss a couple games. If you look specifically at the NIU offense in their last 3 games, even the run game is struggling a little bit. Just 15.3 points per game, 4.62 yards per play, 41.4% success rate. Again, Ethan Hampton did not play in 2 of these games. So 2 of these games involved a backup quarterback. I believe it was even a freshman too. So maybe take these with a little bit of a grain of salt. But still, no question, NIU offensively has been stuttering a little bit. That being said, I mean, there's still such a talent discrepancy here. Northern Illinois' offensive line should have no problem bullying this Western Michigan defensive front. So even though NIU isn't playing their best football offensively right now, I still expect them to be able to move the ball in this one. So maybe not an explosive offensive performance, but they should be able to get the run going. This Western Michigan defense isn't very good. So NIU should be able to put up some points here. But what about on the other side? Let's take a look at the suddenly red-hot Western Michigan offense. If you look at their numbers on the season, it looks pretty good. 46th in yards per play, 36th in success rate. We knew this was going to be a pretty solid MAC offense coming into the season. They're 26th in yards per carry, 77th in success rate per rush, 38th in effective rush. Even the passing numbers look pretty efficient. 45th in yards per pass attempt, 15th in success rate per dropback. They are going to have their hands full here, though. Northern Illinois has been playing some defense this year. They're actually 3rd in the country in yards per play allowed, 24th in success rate. They've been very good against the run, very good against the pass. So Western Michigan playing excellent football offensively right now. This is going to be a test. But I mean, like I said, they are red hot. In their last 4 football games, they're averaging 44.8 points per game, 7.29 yards per play, 47% success rate. So this Western Michigan offense, like I said, red hot. Yeah, you can look at the defenses. Ball State, Akron, Buffalo, Kent State, pretty much the 4 worst defenses in the MAC. So yes, they played some bad defenses, but I mean 44.8 points per game. You don't score those by accident. So even though they've played some bad defenses, this offense we knew was going to be a pretty good offense coming into the season. It's humming right now. The problem is Northern Illinois is playing their best defense of the year. Like I said, they're having problems offensively, still winning football games. It's because of their defense. In their last 3 games, they're allowing just 15 points per game, 4.45 yards per play. So something has to give here. Western Michigan's offense has been red hot. Northern Illinois' defense has been red hot. Something has to give in this game. As far as what I personally think, my opinion, I kind of like the matchup for Western Michigan. I think they're going to score points on NIU in this one. This Northern Illinois defense has a great pass rush, right? 23rd in pressure rate, 19th in sack rate. Probably the strength of their defense is getting to the quarterback. Well, Hayden Wolf has been excellent handling pressure so far this year. A- QB rating, B turnover worthy play rate, A in yards per pass attempt when pressure. So he hasn't had much problems handling pressure so far this year. Now he does have a C+ pressure to sack rate. He's not the most mobile guy, so he takes sacks, but as far as getting throws out, he makes plays under pressure. So I don't hate this matchup for Western Michigan. I said before the year that I thought Hayden Wolf would have a great season, and it looked like that take was wrong for a few weeks there, but they're starting to play really well, Western Michigan. And I mean, look at the turnaround. They started the season off 1-3 against the spread. In their last 4, they've won 4 straight, 3-1 against the number. I mean, this Western Michigan team is just playing a different brand of football right now. I know they've played some easy competition, but at home, catching points, I think they'll be able to move the ball. I like Western Michigan in this one. I think they win outright. And I'm big on this Northern Illinois team, but I think this turns into a bit of a shootout, and I like the quarterback situation in Western Michigan better at home. Give me the Broncos plus 1.5 here. Live show, 4 p.m. Eastern time. We'll go through these 2 games. We'll talk some college basketball. We'll go through the NBA slate. We'll go through all of it. If you're able to make it, we'd love to see you in the comments. If you want to go see all the bets I personally have open, head over to KyleKirms.com and click on Open Bets. You can see mine as well as everyone on the staff here. Let's have ourselves a good one. Please remember to bet responsibly. Talk to you in the Discord.